Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now in this one, as the title suggests, I finally, after a very long time, managed to grab myself all of the Zenites. What you're seeing on this one is KC1668, picking up my second of the 4 Zenites that you do need. Uh, Taken a long time in between the first and the second one. But yeah, no, nice 18.2 mil, so no complaints on that one at all. Which I would then say this one was not too long after in comparison. At 1859 KC, managed to pick up the third. Now, what I was doing, instead of just making these straight away, because this is way before Araxor came out, I was trying to hope that I could get a bunch of, like, to get all three together and just make the last three all together. Sort of just going for different tasks and trying to just skip forward for Black Demons, but it didn't quite work out that way, and I just pulled in these two and was like, you know what, I really want the Torture, and I really wanted the Tormented, because those two would probably be the biggest output in terms of DPS that I could get when I'm going into raids, and make a nice sort of six-way switch between all of them. Now, yeah, that's probably not the order that the majority of people will take. Most people will go and get the Suffering so that they can go and do things like Zulrah. But that doesn't interest me particularly, so it's not been something I've been going for really, to try and grab Zulrah, the stuff to make Zulrah a bit easier. So I grabbed these two pieces first because that was going to be the biggest increase for me personally. Now, what you just saw was a bunch of selling off of like the drops that I've got, the Desire drops that I've got as spares, so the Obby Capes, the Mauls, and the Shields. Don't sell for a huge amount. I did think that they would sell for more, but yeah, no, they didn't. So, luckily I obviously had already got a fair amount of Tockle from doing the Infernal Eels, as well as just the tasks in general, getting the Fire Cape, things like that, just been storing up the Tockle. And then it was a case of just selling Chaos Runes, which is, how most people know, maxes out at buying them at 9 Tockle per Chaos Rune. I switched the sell option to sell 50 on a left click, and then just spammed it until I had enough. Now, I needed just over 500,000 in order to get enough for 2 Onyxes, as those two were the ones that I was really pushing myself to get first. Obviously, each world only stocks 1, so you do have to hop in order to pick up that second one. Having the diary gloves, the different tiers, obviously then gives you a different discount. Obviously, I've got the elite diary done, so it's the largest of the discounts, I believe. Picking up both of those onyxes, leaving me with under 1,000 toggle left, but obviously once these are all purchased, there's no real need for me to have a stock of it at all. Now, the main thing that I'm sure most people know is you need that Zenite Shard as well as the cut onyx. Go to the flames underneath the fort Apatol, then you go down with a zombie monkey Gree, combine them into the uncut Zenites. Now, as I said on the previous time I made the Anguish, I always do this in Edgeville, don't know why, so again, that's the only place that we could go for it. Making the amulet for the Torture and making the bracelet for the Tormented, whacking them together, the best upgrades that you could get until obviously now with Araxor being out, you can now obviously get the increased or the better version of the Torture. You're getting that amulet, but other than that, these were at the time the best options in terms of jewelry pieces. But yeah, no, nice little imbue, and then yeah, got those completed, and great DPS upgrades. Been really enjoying using them at raids. Can't complain there. It's just getting used to the 6-way gear switches as opposed to sort of the 3 or 4 I was taking before, as it is making a little bit of a difference. Now though, I did get another task sometime later. Obviously, the last one I mentioned at the beginning was 1859 for my third Zenite piece. What you are seeing on screen now is KC 2290, Bearing in mind these Zenite shards are a 1 in 300 and are the most common of the unique drops for the demonic gorillas, that's quite a high amount to have killed for the rare, not rarest, for the most common of unique. As we've all seen my collection log before, it's a bit ridiculous. Dropped a little bit in price, only down to 17.5 mil, but that was the 4th and final Zenite shard that I specifically need for my account. Went and picked up myself up a bunch more Tockle by selling off my Chaos Runes. First time that Chaos Rune stack has dropped under 100k since I did all of my Barra KC way back in the early episodes of this progress series. But yeah, as you can see, there were some people in the clan killing Araxor. I believe this was on the day of release. But yeah, no, absolutely no complaints with that. Cannot complain at picking that up. Yeah, it was a little bit past drop rate that I would have expected to have seen it. Because, you know, typically if you were going to be going on rate, be sort of 1 in about 2400 KC, you would sort of get all 4. Am I doing that right? No, I'm not. 1200 KC. Sorry, that's double. 2400 KC would be if I was going for all 8 that me and Gumption would need. But yeah, no, the 4 that I would need would be 1. It would be 1200 kills. So I've gone just under double in terms of that KC. But as I have said, wasn't that bothered. Getting the extra alcohol drops hasn't been that bad. Obviously the prayer XP there using the Ash Sanctifier isn't that bad. So not really any complaints. It's just a little bit annoying. Obviously now that that's finished, it's finished before I've gone and got any Tormented Demons, before I've gone and got any of the Synapses for the upgraded Demon Vein weapons. Sort of done it all with a mixture of Arclight and the Whip, along with basically just the Boffer, and I think there were some early kills in there that would have had like an MSBI or a Rune Crossbow. So it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to get those drops. But, you know, that is the price you pay sometimes with Iron Men. That obviously these drops that are time gated or are locked behind RNG, you're just not as lucky as you would hope, unfortunately. So yeah, the main problem that most people have getting down into where you would need to combine the gems, as I said, under the fort, is the problem with these big apes. They do block the trapdoor. And rather than going upstairs, I just find it easier to just go and wait, because they do move fairly often. It can just be a little bit annoying. But yeah, no, go and fuse these along. This will be the last time I have to come down here, because despite being a group Ironman, I have already stated I will not be going back here to help Gumption out grabbing the last of the Zenites that he needs, and I won't be doing it just in case the Rev comes back. It's just not in me. It's just not in me to do it. I may change my mind if I got all the synapses and then all the Demon Vein weapons, because that would absolutely cut through them, rather than having to use just normal weaponry that is pretty effective. I should be able to one-shot each phase. Now, the only addition I needed to obviously do with the Ring of Suffering is, because it's a ring, a bit like the DK rings, you can imbue it, and then you can also charge it, because obviously it acts as a ring of recoil when it has charges added to it, and then the imbuing of it will add in that double capacity for defense and that small prayer bonus it gives. So you can get from a +2 prayer, +20 in all defensive stats, to a +4 prayer, +20 in all defense stats. So a great tank ring if you're doing something that they don't have particularly high defense or offensive stats, so they're going to be fairly inaccurate. Adding a bunch of defense in there, you're going to be very, very safe in terms of what's happening. It's not as expensive as I thought. I don't know why I had it in my head that it was going to be a lot more expensive to imbue. Probably because I've got the diary requirements to have done the higher tiers, so there's a bit of a discount there, as well as also it just wasn't as expensive as I was thinking. I was thinking it was like 1,000,000 points plus, which is what the Slayer helms are. But yeah, I pulled out just a few Ring of Recoils I already had in the bank. You can see there, only 6. It's not many. I have since done a little bit of AFK enchanting on the Sapphire rings I have. Got just over 20,000 charges now in the Ring of Suffering RI. But yeah, it's been a great new addition to the gear in total. But for now, that's going to be it for this episode. Until next time.